Greetings. In this video, we will complete the eye loop and cheekbone and we'll weld it together with the existing nose and mouth. And at the end of this video, we'll have completed the majority of the face. Let's get started. Here's our existing, and we're going to begin with an eye loop, and we'll use the pipe, polygon primitive pipe, to get us the majority of the way there. I'll hit the F key just to zoom in on that. We can scale this up a little bit. In the inputs, we want to change the axis divisions to 10, and we want to rotate it facing forward. You could hold the J key and rotate that up, and we want it to be 90 on the X, just facing forward. Now we're going to delete the faces off the back. So you come into your orthographic side view. I've scaled it up enough. I'm confident in making that selection in the perspective view. You can hit the 4 key and see. And we hit delete, and we're left with that front set of faces. Now let's position it, and we'll position it in both views. So we'll pull it forward. If you wanted to center the pivot, you could do that. So we'll center that on the eye there, and we'll put this here. And before we go any further, we're going to rotate this 18 degrees on the Z. So 18 degrees, and that gives us just a straight vertical here. And this is the information that we need to be able to create this area of the eye, the corners of the eye. And we'll spend a little bit of time just getting this right. And I'll grab these, and we'll scale them down. Maybe the 4 key makes this a little bit easier. So that's about there. This one's going to be here, and we'll scale this down and move that around. Scale this one, and we'll place that. And then we'll just want these diagonals uniformly spaced. So not too terribly difficult. And we're just following that interior corner. Now we're ultimately going to come back and we'll add several loops here. The eyelid needs lots of information to be able to cover the eyeball. So again, we're not worrying about getting this perfect because we're just setting up the topology to be able to add the detail that we will need ultimately. We can pull the exterior edge. I've double-clicked that, and if we look in the side view, right, we could pull that out. We could also rotate a little bit to have that follow, and we'll rotate that around, and we do want that coming off, and we could scale maybe a little bit and check that back there, and that's about what we want. Yeah. So that, again, not a finished eye, but the starting point for us to be able to create the brow and then also the lid. Good. Now next we'll move on to the cheekbone, and we'll begin with a primitive sphere. So we'll come to poly primitive and create the sphere, and 8 and 6 is a good starting point. If you wanted to put that in your default, you could. And then we're going to delete actually all these faces. So we're just going to leave ourselves with that cap with just 2 faces in this direction. And this will be our starting point. We can modify, center that pivot. We'll hold the J key. And just while we're thinking about it, we can go ahead and let's move this up a little bit. And we'll just get rid of these edges here so that we've got quads all the way around. So I can just hit delete. There's no intermediary vertexes that we have to delete. Okay, now this is a little bit tricky. We want to position it in both the front and the side. And the cheekbone is viewed from both. So we can kind of put it about there. And of course, we'll scale it up. And we'll look from the top view. Now, we don't have a top view reference, but we know that, right, it's going to come around about there. And so we'll kind of split that difference. So somewhere around there. And again, we can use soft select and sculpt when we're done. We're just concerned with the topology. Yeah, and I can see from that this portion of my face is a little flat. So we could pull this out. Now, we want to use soft select. If I just pull that, it's going to make a real hard crease. So we can hit the B key, tap the B key, hold the B key, scrub left, right, and I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. And because we're going to be bridging here, I want this to be a little bit further forward. Okay, that's fair enough. And that cheekbone does really protrude. Now we'll get it part of the way there, and while we've got soft select on, or we're thinking of soft select, let's jump in to this view and we'll just kind of pull this out here, and we'll kind of cheat these over, and you can kind of see where we're going to bridge. And in this view with soft select on, we'll kind of cheat these back. So it's not a perfect circle by any means, and it's right. We're kind of rotating that around. Okay, you definitely want to save at this point. This has been pretty straightforward getting these to work. But we're going to be doing lots of massaging here to make these elements work. And so you might want to come back to this point. Always a good idea to increment and save. So with those three selected, we'll come and we'll hit combine. And let's think in the front view, right, where we want these attachments made. So this, turn my soft select off, is the eye piece that will bridge here. We want to take a look at that. We'll hit bridge. We'll bridge this one. And just while we're here, this flow is not good. So I'm going to just pull that down and over a little bit. We don't want it stretching too terribly much. And then we've got this edge to this edge. Makes sense, right? We're bridging. And then we'll go here to here. And then we're going to go from here to here. And that leaves us a 4 in here. We'll bridge here. And we'll bridge down on the bottom. Maybe the perspective view is a little bit easier to see. And we can also, well, we would extrude out. So let's extrude this out. Let's jump into the side view. And we'll hit extrude. And I'm just going to pull that back in world space and then check in this view. We'll pull that out. And we can always rotate. And so now we've got a nice meeting here with this bridge. We'll use our target weld and choose vertex. I'm clicking off just in case anything popped up, and we'll drag and drop that. And so we've got that around. If we hit the 3 key, now that's very pronounced, but we can come back and we can soften it, right? Just taking a look at the flow. Maybe we want this, right? We can take a look at it there. We can take a look at it in this view. Maybe that needs to come back. And of course, we can, at the end, use our sculpt tools. We can average vertexes. But the fact that it's a little bit overly pronounced is okay. I think that's good for the demonstration. All right, let's complete the loop of the eye. We'll grab these up here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll hit extrude. And we'll drive the offset, and then I'm going to drive the Z backwards. And pull that even back a little bit more. So just, I'm scrubbing on the Z there. And we use target weld, and we're using target. Right-click vertex, I'm just clicking to make sure nothing was selected, and we'll drag that, and drag that. And we'll do another. We'll grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll hit extrude, we'll offset. We'll bring that forward on the Z, right? That's coming up to the brow. We'll hit target weld, maybe 4 key, and we want to right click to vertex, click off just to make sure nothing's selected. We've got a lot of overlap here, kind of hard to see, but that's where we want to merge, and we can go there, and then we'll do one more loop, and that will give us all the information we need for the eyebrow. We'll hit extrude. Once again, we'll offset that. Don't need to pull this one too far forward. It's already pretty far forward. And we will target weld this one. Not quite to the edge yet. And we're going to leave that one. We'll come back and fix that. And then let's just finish the thought here. We can just extrude this one edge, and you could even just really pull it out of the way, and then we'll target weld back so that it's on the center line. So we'll target that one back, and then with this one, right, I just kind of pulled that way out there. We'll hit the blue arrow, V-snap, and then if we wanted it to line up here, we could hit the red arrow and V-snap. Oops, sorry, I meant the Y. There we go. And snap that, and maybe we want it a little bit forward. The important thing is that it's on the center line, and we should probably check here. And I actually wasn't with this one on the center line, so we'll hit the. I want to limit on the. There we go. All right. Now we want to meet our shape here. So we're just spreading these out in this direction, and we can do the same here, and we'll really need to pull these back. So this will come way back, way back. You could have been doing this as we were going. I kind of did everything in one view, and then since we did everything in one view, we're coming back and making the correction in this view. And that's about where we want it. Yeah, and hit the 3 key, and so that's coming back nicely. It doesn't look much like an eye here, but we have loops. So again, we can put in enough information for the eyelid. There's enough information here for the kind of bag under the eye on our character. And we're back. We'll complete the jaw. This cranium will complete the bottom of the jaw and neck. And then the final will be completing the ear. And we'll talk about hat, or if we want to make the hat part of the continuous surface or a separate object. And then to get a sense, we can come to Mesh, Mirror, and we'll make our merge threshold 0.1, and we can see pretty good on our face, right? And this is what I was saying at the end. At the very end, we can delete all of our history and then use our sculpt tools. And right, there's a little bit too much crease there if you wanted to pull out the cheekbone, but you can begin to sculpt because we have good edge flow. We have good topology. And so we can model on top or sculpt on top of that quality topology. All right, there we go. Questions in the discussion forum. Have a good one.